Alright guys, I haven't done a video on the euro really in any type of detail or really a whole lot. So that's what I'm gonna quickly cover here. If you recall a while ago, I said that there were some things that were going on in the euro order flow wise that were suspicious, that there was going to be some type of capitulation one way or the other. So I've got the euro up here. You're going to notice this area right here where I had the blue, the green, the blue, the green, and the blue. Now remember, anytime you see blue, blue here, right, blue here, anytime you see that dark blue, it's a big deal. Okay? So when you see blue and green together, it's an even bigger deal. So what I want you to notice here is that once we got down below this major level here of all these blues and greens, we came back up and we tested it and failed. Right? We came right down to the bear's line in the sand here. Alright, these two red lines, which I had alluded to in the previous video. Right back up to that major area once again. Back down to where the bears were a little trapped. And then we just kind of drifted for a while. Right? Now, here's your capitulation. We came back up to that major area that we had tested so many times over the course of really like 5 days. Alright? This is what a top looks like. When you have this area that's been tested over a period of 5 days, you finally break through it and then you peter out. Right? I mean, look at this in relation to all these bars going up. Right? All of these rows here with the numbers in them are basically like looking inside a bar on a bar chart. It just dissects it in a much more precise manner than just looking at a bar. So, when you have a long up bar like that, when we finally broke through it, everybody and their mother thought that we were going to be off to the races. And then you have a long down bar right after that. Right? And then what happens? We test, we break down. We test, we break down. We test, we break down. This time we broke down relatively decent, down to where all these longs were put on. Then we come back up to that major area of interest again. Right? And it can't hold on any longer. And ultimately what ends up transpiring? Well, you have this waterfall decline. Where do we stop? After we test in through here, and then we decline, where do we stop and chop around? Well, these two red lines where all these shorts were put in place, and we knew that that was going to be an area that the bears needed to break with some level of conviction in order to really get control of this market. Because remember, for the last 5 days, this thing basically was stuck in a range. Nobody wanted to take control. So, here's another key I want you to pay attention to. You remember I told you about the land of confusion lines? The level where you have a specific bar in the past that has a lot of green and a lot of red in it. And that's what these two cyan lines are. This was in play from like 12 days ago, probably. So that was a level that we knew we needed to watch. So once you came down here to where all these shorts were put on, and the bulls are trying to not let it break that, and then we come back up into this land of confusion, and then we break down again through where all these shorts are put on, we knew that the tide had turned. Not to mention the fact that what's going on with the 33 when this is occurring. It has turned down and it's starting to move lower. So we had a lot of things telling us about this decline in advance. And you can see what ultimately ended up happening. So now we've finally picked a direction. And we're going to see what we end up getting here when the markets open on Sunday night, when they open in Europe. But it looks to me like the euro might continue to move lower. So what I really wanted to show you is, number one, these areas of major support and resistance, and also the anatomy of a top, which is exactly this. And you have to remember, you have to stay in the frame of mind of what are traders thinking at this time. Look, when we finally broke through here with that long up bar, they all thought, yeah, we win, let's get long. But then you get that long down bar immediately afterwards, so now party's over. You know, after you get that long up bar and that long down bar, that was just a giant head fake, false breakout, and that the crap was going to hit the fan. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So two things I want you to really take away from this. Number one, I want you to take away the anatomy of a top, and also, as I've said time and time again, you have to stay in the frame of mind of what other people are thinking when specific things occur in the market. Obviously, everybody was thinking that this was a nice breakout and that we were going to roar higher, right? So when it doesn't, right? When something doesn't happen that should, what do I tell you? That is even better than something happening that should and does. When you have a market that should roar higher after that breakout, and it doesn't, that's telling you it's in trouble. That's telling you that the big money has just sucked in all those longs, and they're about ready to run them for the hills. So keep those two things in mind. Stay in the frame of mind of what traders are thinking based upon price action, and keep in mind when something doesn't happen that should happen, that is a larger tip-off and ultimately will make you more money over the long term than when something happens that should happen. All right, that's it. Later.